I think there was a lot of positives to walk away with after this football game. And, I mentioned the discipline, right? That stood out. There was only 2 penalties for 19 yards. That's the fewest in the last 50 games for Coach Saban in Alabama. So that was a significant improvement. I thought some people didn't necessarily think the offensive line played great, but from my eyes down on the field, I'll be honest. I'll tell you, Booker and Latham, they're dogs, right? Those guys, they talk the talk, but they went out there and they walked the walk. I'm telling you. I mean, I'm like standing on the side. They're like blocking guys, almost running them into me, getting up, yelling, and I mean, huffing and puffing. Like these dudes are animals, right? So if there was any inconsistency, I guarantee you, from the offensive line, I guarantee you it was not from those 2 guys, right? There was that one where there was a miscue. I think Milroe was supposed to check, and that guy made a play in the backfield. It looked like it was on Latham. I don't think it was. I think it was a miscue. But I'm telling you right now, those guys are dogs, and their energy is infectious. I mean, I watched Latham go, almost every series he'd go, pound the other linemen, getting them ready, let's go, let's do this. Pull them to the side before they go back out on the field, give them, pep talk. Like, that is the type of leadership we need on this football team. And to see that on full display, especially from a prominent group like the offensive line, because everything starts up front, I love seeing that. So that's why I was so proud of the offensive line. I know there probably were some things they could clean up, and they will. It's the first game. But to me, they showed a lot of promise. And look, even if you just are trying to play with that physicality, that's already a step in the right direction. Things aren't always going to be perfect, but as long as you have the right mindset and approach, you can work with that. So I'll take it. Milroe is obviously off to a phenomenal start, setting the record with the 3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Look, he went out there and displayed that immense improvement that we've talked about in all areas of the game, looking poised and confident in the pocket, great touch on his passage. I thought he was just, he read the defense well, and he just was very efficient, right? The +2 turnover margin, better margin than any regular season game last year. So that's an improvement. We had an interception, which we lacked getting those last year. Blackshire literally took the ball away. That's like a literal takeaway. He snatched it out of the guy's hands. So that means they're going after the football. They're attacking the football. Then Jalen Key on that interception, they were playing cover 1, which is man-on-man coverage. He ran with his receiver well, but he read the quarterback's eyes, broke on the ball, made a nice play. And he's one of those guys that's banged up, so hopefully we get him back. But again, attacking the football, but then also protecting the football on the other side. So that is a very good sight to see. And then, to me, I thought the receivers really impressed, right? I know they dealt with some drops in training camp, and people are a little worried about them. Last year they struggled to get some separation, but we saw the speed of Bond and even Burton, and I just felt like they looked like a much improved group. So I'm glad they responded to the challenge of their head coach. The tight end group, I love seeing the versatility of the tight ends, right? You got Nye Black, who's kind of like that O.J. Howard athletic tight end. You got C.J. Dupree, who's a blocking wide tight end, but he's also athletic enough, can catch the football. And then you got Robbie Oots, who's like that H-back, that almost like a fullback type of guy. And then is it Danny? I can't remember his last name, but another big physical guy, 6'5", like 255. So and these 4 tight ends, they were rotating throughout the whole first quarter. I mean, so they talk about Tommy Rees liking tight ends. He really does, because, these guys are going in and out, and you love seeing that. You love to have that type of depth. And I think the tight end room is definitely going to be a strong point of this football team. Then last but not least, the defense. I thought they were stellar. The pass rush was great. That what was once the cheetah package is now what they're calling the Raptor package. Quandarius Robinson came up with a big sack. We saw Deontay Lawson get a sack. Chris Braswell, who I keep talking about, I told you guys, look out for him. I'm telling you, he's going to have a big season this year. Looked phenomenal coming off the edge. And just overall, man, the defense was just flying around. They were throwing marbles at the ball carriers. So they had great pursuit. We talk about the secondary just being so versatile and having really good depth as well. Caleb Downs, who we've said, he always just flashes when you watch him. He did that. He led the defensive tackles. I think he had 8. And then Deontay Lawson, just going back to him, man, he's that commander that this defense needs. He's a vocal guy. He gets guys lined up. He's a rangy guy. Can play sideline to sideline. He's not a liability in coverage. So again, and that's what we said. We were excited about this defense, and then up front they look good. Big Otis and Tim Keenan. These guys, I think they have a chance to be really special. So overall, I think I would give pretty much every group an A as well. I'm a little it's hard for me to give out perfect grades. So maybe an A- here or there just for little things. Like, I mean, but it was hard to come up with negatives. I mean, the only thing I really wrote down was, running back pass pro. That really stood out. That's got to get cleaned up. I think there might have been 2 or 3 sacks allowed, but at least 2 of those were on the running backs. Both times the running backs.
Yeah, three sacks total.
There's 3 sacks total, but I think 2 of them at least were on the running backs. They failed to pick up their blitzes, and they got beat on the blitz. And look, back in the day, Coach Burns wasn't having that. And so I'm telling you right now, they're going to go to practice, and they're really going to work on that because you got to give the quarterback time to throw the football, especially when these things are coming. This team's going to bring pressure, and what's going to happen is a team like Texas is they're going to watch the tape and they're going to say, hey, these backs struggle in pass pro. We're going to attack that. We're going to try to exploit that. So need to get that cleaned up, which I think they will, and I know they will. Then several little missed checks on offense, that'll get cleaned up. You just got to be able to pre-snap, see what's coming at you, and just know what to go to and when to go to it. And then last and not least, there's a couple of lapses I felt like on defense, and Coach Saban talked about it going into halftime. Like, they can't take their foot on the gas, right? He felt like they started to kind of almost not get bored, but, they lost a little bit of that intensity. And what the result of that was I felt like there were some missed tackles. There was that drive where Middle Tennessee started driving down the field a little bit. There's several missed tackles, but that's almost inevitable in a game when you're playing, an opponent like Middle Tennessee and you're going up like that. Sometimes you do kind of have those lapses. So just want to make sure you're always keeping your foot on the gas no matter the score. But other than that, that's what I'm saying. There wasn't much really bad to talk about in this game.